Today's word is tossed by waves. Some of you have been tossed by waves. In your lives, it seems like there is something that is shifting you, something that is obstructing you, something that has caused delays in your lives. You could be in a storm and you do not know where that storm has come from. But my brothers and sisters, if Jesus gets into your boat, your storm will be no more. It does not matter how big, how huge, how terrible that storm is. It will go. It will have no choice but to live because Jesus is Lord over the storm. When he speaks a word, the sea, the winds and waves hear his voice. Today's word is from the book of Matthew 14:22 to 33. Matthew 14:22 to 33. And it reads, Immediately Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. Now when evening came, he was alone there, but the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by waves, for the wind was contrary. Now in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went to them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a ghost. And they cried out for fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, Be of good cheer. It is I. Do not be afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. So he said, Come. And when Peter had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, O you of little faith, why did you doubt? And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased. Then those who were in the boat came and worshipped him, saying, Truly, you are the Son of God. Truly, Jesus was the Son of God. Now, this is a story that is presented to us. And the scripture says that immediately Jesus made his disciples to get in the boat and go before him to the other side. It was immediately. He told them to go, and so that he would find them. Now the scripture says that he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. Notice that Jesus, in most cases, when he went to pray, he went by himself. Because if he had gone with a multitude of people, sometimes when you go to pray, brothers and sisters, it has to be with you alone. You have to pray. Because there are some people that are hindrances to your breakthrough while you are praying. Some of them will be praying against you with their unbelief. Some of them will be obstacles to you. So Jesus knew the importance of prayer, and he was serious when he went to pray. He went alone to pray. Prayer is so important, brothers and sisters, that you do not joke when you're praying, because it is a communication to God. It is a dialogue, not a monologue. You are not going there to talk to people. You are going there to talk to God and expect to hear the voice of God. Environment is very important when you're praying. So Jesus had to go alone. Now, the scripture says But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by waves, for the wind was contrary. Some of you, your boat is in the middle of the sea. You are it seems like you are in the middle of the sea. Your businesses are in the middle of the sea. Your marriage is in the middle of the sea. Your relationships are in the middle of the sea, tossed by waves. Waves, for the winds are also contrary. But my brothers and sisters, I have come to encourage you that do not be afraid. When you find yourself in the middle of a situation where you feel like you do not have a solution to what is destroying your life, to what is speaking negativity out of your life, stand on the promises of God. Now, 25 says, now in the fourth watch, in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went to them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it is a ghost. And they cried out for fear. Brothers and sisters, even in the middle of the sea, Jesus has the ability to walk on the sea. Even in the middle of that fire, Jesus has the ability to be with you in the fire, and you will not get burnt. Just stand on the promises of God. Have faith in God. Now, the scripture says that as Jesus was walking on the sea, the disciples saw him and they started crying out that it is a ghost. Why? Because they were accustomed to seeing ghosts. So this was something that was new to them. They thought that it is only ghosts that walk on water. But it was God. It was Jesus. Brothers and sisters, Jesus will present himself in a difficult situation. But do not mistake him to being somebody, something, stories that you heard. Because God is God over everything, and he is not limited to the elements of this world. So whatever you are going through, whatever storm that you have found yourself in, brothers and sisters, you will get out of it. It will be no more. Now, when you continue reading the story, you do realize that Peter saw, when Peter knew that it was Jesus, Peter said that, Lord, if it is you, bid me to come. And Peter started on walking on water. But when you read the story, is that Peter became afraid. Maybe the winds, because Peter was a fisherman, so he knew the waters. He moved by his own experience. He did not move by faith. The winds maybe were so terrible, and he knew that that kind of wind will cause somebody to sink. So my brothers and sisters, when God calls you out of your problem, do not move by your feelings. Do not move by what your surroundings. Do not be taken up by people around you. Move by faith, because it is God who has called you out. And if it's God who has called you out of that situation, out of that storm, trust in God, because you will be victorious over the storm. Brothers and sisters, this is the message that I have for you, that when you are tossed by waves, trust in God. He is God in the storm, God in the fire, and God in the pit. If he has saved men of God like Daniel, who were surrounded by lions, he will too save you from that fire, from that pit, from that storm. I have come to the end of this message. One thing that I would like you to do is share this good news with somebody else. Introduce somebody to this good news. And until next time, shalom.